What is good, everyone? Welcome to the channel. The honeymoon period, when we're talking about the culture shock waves that you go through when you move to a new country, the honeymoon period is that period when you first arrive and everything is new, it's exciting, it's wonderful, everything is different, and you're adjusting and enjoying your new environments. And I think the key word of it all is it's very, very exciting because it is brand new. Now, after that honeymoon period, you might end up sort of running into some cultural conflicts, something that is being done in the culture you've moved to that clashes with your own culture from your home country, or you run into language difficulties, or you start to feel homesick. And so that honeymoon period drops down into this bout of culture shock. And then you have ups and downs after that until you reach a sort of equilibrium. Now, today I'm going to tell you why I think Japan has one of the best honeymoon periods of any country you could move to. Let's discuss why. Okay, before we get started, because this is Japan, I want you to bow politely to the like button and then say yoroshiku onegai shimasu to the subscribe button. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to break this down into 4 different reasons, and a lot of these reasons really overlap into why it's so wonderful to be a tourist visiting in Japan, because if you think about it, tourists never leave the honeymoon period, right? They come and they have a great time, and then they head back to their home country without ever having to go down into that culture shock mode. So the first reason why Japan has a great honeymoon period is the society itself. Japan is clean and, for all intents and purposes, a well-run society. When you get here, things work. You're able to set up a new life relatively easily. The transportation runs on time. The cities are clean, the apartments are clean, everything seems to work, and therefore it's really easy to sort of meld into that new surrounding or new society because you don't really have any particular strife. There's not anyone trying to scam you on the streets. You don't have to worry about really unclean environments, and basically that makes Japan a great place to start off a new life. The second reason why the honeymoon period in Japan is really excellent is because of the food. Now, whether you're an adventurous eater or not, basically you are always guaranteed a certain level of quality at a Japanese restaurant or supermarket. Basically, it's really hard to have a bad experience here. As an American, I think I can speak for many Americans that we all have a list of restaurants that we know that we vowed never to go back to because that restaurant gave us a really bad experience. The food was poorly made, something happened with the service, and we never want to go back. 15 years in Japan, I have 2 places that I would say I'd never go back to, and both of them are service related, not about the food itself. If you have a bad food experience because you tried something that you ended up not liking, that's more on you than the place that you went to, because generally speaking, even the chain restaurants and family restaurants are going to be a cut above when it comes to quality. Quality control is just that good. Now, I will add one caveat to that. There are certain things that you don't want to go cheap on. The first time I ever ate sea urchin in a sushi restaurant was at a 100 yen plate place, and it was pretty nasty. But I was convinced to try it again by a friend when we went to the seashore and a real sushi place that was next to the beach, and the sea urchin was just fresh and absolutely delicious, and so that made a big difference. So there might be exceptions, but generally speaking, the quality of the food here is going to be always basically fantastic. And strangely enough, it's not even that expensive. Like, it's not that hard to eat out in Japan on a budget. The third reason why Japan has such a great honeymoon period for newcomers is because of the safety. You know, if you come here as a tourist, I've heard so many stories about people who were tired and kind of out of it, and they left a bag on the train, and when they checked into it, they got their bag back, all the contents intact. You can leave your bag on a table to save a place when you're in a cafe. Basically, you're not going to leave your hotel and run into people who are trying to sell you something or try to scam you. Japan is an incredibly safe place, and of course that means moving here to live. Again, you have that feeling of security, sense of safety that is going to make the honeymoon period while you're here feel that much better. So those first three reasons are really good reasons as to why Japan has such a great honeymoon period. The fourth reason why Japan has such a great honeymoon period is because of Japanese pride in their culture and society, and their desire to share that with outsiders and hope that non-Japanese people will be able to experience that pride and come away with Japan having had a wonderful experience. So if you are visibly foreign in Japan and you're new to the country, you kind of have this aura about you that Japanese people pick up on, that you're new. And you will have people come up to you and help you out when you look clueless at the train station. You will have people ask you on the train or in a restaurant where you're from, what are you doing in Japan, how do you like the food, how do you like this, that, and everything. And I've talked to a lot of foreigners who have lived in Japan for a long time. We've all basically had this experience. If we're visibly foreign, if you look Asian, you kind of blend in and you don't have these exact same experiences. But you will have those experiences where people will come up to you out of the blue and try to give you help or just want to strike up a conversation. And there's a whole media apparatus in Japan. News programs, variety shows, they do these bits where they go out and they ask random foreign tourists on the street, what do you like about Japan? How are you enjoying your experience? Anything particularly special that's happened? And it's basically this whole industry of navel gazing about how wonderful Japan is and how much foreigners really like Japan. And it's different, I feel, than other countries' pride in their society and culture. I mean, I imagine like the French, who are obviously very proud of being French and proud of French culture and French cuisine. They don't really go out of their way to care that much about what an American is going to think or the type of experience an American is going to have in France while they're there. As an American, I certainly say this. For me, and I think most Americans, if there's Japanese tourists around, yeah, we have a pride in America and we have a pride in our culture, but we're not going to really care so much how great an experience a random Japanese tourist is going to have. It's more like a kind of take it or leave it attitude. You know, if you enjoy it, great. If you don't, well, see you later. There's really only if you have some kind of reason to have a personal connection with a tourist that you really will go out of your way to help them or make sure that they really enjoy their time. All right, I'll give you an example of the type of hospitality and going out of their way that Japanese people do. That happened to me and my friend Scott. My friend Scott was visiting from the States. We went to Kyoto together. So he's a tourist and I've been in Japan for less than a year. I have almost no Japanese, so I'm definitely still in that clueless foreigner stage for the most part. And we are sitting in a bar, izakaya restaurant, and a couple from Osaka sits down next to us, and we end up in a conversation. They were kind of like common tables, so it was easy to get into conversations with other people. And they were asking the usual litany of questions. Where were we from? How were we enjoying Japan? Can we eat this, that, or the other thing? And it was mostly in English because my Japanese was still really poor and Scott was a tourist, so he didn't really have any Japanese at all. And at some point, the couple from Osaka got up and said they had to return. They had work in the morning and they had to get back to Osaka. Scott and I stayed a little bit longer, and we thought it was really nice that we had these really nice people to talk to, and we learned a few things about Kyoto where we were. And when we got up, the staff informed us that the couple from Osaka had paid our bill. We didn't owe any money. And it wasn't like, hey, you're from America, I'll buy you a drink sort of thing. It was they secretly paid our bill and left. It's that kind of, let's give these people an interesting and exceptional experience in Japan that, I don't know, that may happen in other countries, but it's happened enough to me here in Japan that it struck me as something that really is special about this place. Now, don't get into your mind that you're going to come to Japan and people are going to be lining up to pay your bills. That's absolutely not the case. But I did have that very same thing happen more than once. But it doesn't happen anymore because apparently I just don't look like Abraham Lincoln anymore. I actually read a really good analogy that covers this phenomenon. It's by a blogger that goes by the name of Japanese Rule of Seven. Imagine Abraham Lincoln somehow through some time machine has been transported to the present day. And you need to be the tour guide to help Abraham Lincoln understand the modern world. So Abraham Lincoln has no idea about modern technology, has no idea what's going on in modern society, has basically no clue about anything. And so you get to show Abraham Lincoln, this famous, interesting person, what the world is like now. In Japan, when you are a visibly foreign person, you are Abraham Lincoln. And Japanese people want to explain Japanese society to you. They are putting it upon themselves to show you what Japan is all about. Because you don't know anything when you arrive in Japan. You don't know how to do anything. You don't know how to get anywhere. You don't know how to eat the food. You don't know the manners and the cultural norms. So you are Abraham Lincoln. However, and this is another thing I've discussed with a lot of other foreigners who've lived in Japan a long time, eventually this aura goes away. When you've lived here for a while and you become competent, basically it's noticed and suddenly no one pays attention to you anymore and you're not fun anymore. You're not someone that people want to show you around or help you out because you're clearly competent on your own, and you end up eventually kind of meeting less people and having less crazy good experiences. But of course this is actually a good thing too, because if you live here, you don't want to always be treated like an outsider and a tourist. So this aura leaving and, I guess I don't look like Abraham Lincoln anymore. That's actually a good thing because, it'd start to get a little bit annoying if I was being treated like a tourist and a non-resident all the time. I take a little bit of pride in having a bit of competence in the society now. All right, what do you think? Have you had a great honeymoon experience in Japan yourself? Share a story down below. If you think I'm wrong and you think another country has just as good of an experience as Japan, tell me why. And I really appreciate every single comment that I get in the comment section. I want to really thank you so much for watching this video. Watch for my other videos because I put out a new one every single Friday about Japan, society, life, and culture. So look for my past content, and of course look for my future content, my new video that will come out next week. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I will catch you next week. Peace.